Yeah, we were on a mission, got my crew at my side. Scouring the shells, we're down for the ride. Plastic warriors all lined up tight. From the comic shop counters to the late night site. It's the thrill of the hunt, gotta make it mine. I'm out here searching, yeah, taking my time. I'll flip every aisle, don't care what it takes. For that rare chase piece, I'm raising the stakes. Action figure alliance, yeah, we're bringing the noise. Rolling deep, rolling heavy with my action toys. Collectors unite, we're breaking the chains. Plastic in hand, we're playing no games. From legends to villains, yeah, I got them all. Stacked up high, every hero, every ball. Every line, every wave, from the past to the new. It's a bond, it's a crew, we're the real Toy Zoo. Tearing through the packaging, no hesitation. Each piece, a reminder of dedication. We'll call it a phase, this ain't just a trend. These figures got a history, they're my closest friends. Action figure alliance, we're staking a claim. Battling for grails, don't care about fame. From the base of the shelves, we're making a stand. This is our world, you don't understand. Paint them, pose them, fix them up right. Customs in the works, we go all night. From the rarest grills to the two-tail fights. Each one's got a story burned in our minds. Action figure alliance, yeah, we're bringing the noise. Rolling deep, rolling heavy with my action toys. Collectors unite, we're breaking the chains. Plastic in hand, we're playing no games. We're playing no games. From legends to villains, yes, yeah, got them all. We're after legends and stories untold. Alliance forever till the end of the line. This is our mission, this is our pride. From legends to villains.
Yo, what's happening?
What's going on? Hey, how's everybody doing? Welcome.
Man, we got a bunch of people in chat already. It's already starting to pop.
Yep.
Got the Smilodon is your favorite beast of the
Well,
just one of the beasts.
I only own two at the moment.
Yeah,
I got a pre-order, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. Oh,
yeah, I got the dragon right here handy. He's been on my desk for quite a while.
I remember we were at Toylanta and he sees that. He's like, oh my God, I got to get that.
Oh yeah, that's super cool. I honestly, he's been on my desk because I've been enjoying playing with it, but I don't know where I'm going to put him either. So
make room.
A bit of a problem.
Well, they got the IshCon hallway swap coming up Friday and Saturday. Maybe you can get rid of some stuff and make some room there, but we'll definitely be at IshCon this weekend. Looking forward to that. But
yeah. Well, hey, so man, I've been looking forward to this one for a bit. We've had some back and forth, but I'm excited to have the guys from Creative Beast Studio.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a mouthful, but a bunch of good dudes, and all of them are here tonight, which is awesome. So we're looking forward to a good show. Got a bunch of questions. Everybody break out your dinosaur emojis if you want. But yeah, man. So speaking of IshCon coming up this weekend, I'm looking forward to that for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Looking forward to meeting some people that I have. Like Evil Dookie's supposed to be there. He's not in the chat, but Evil Stick will be there. I know who Evil Stick is.
Awesome.
But Evil Dookie, we got to meet him, and they get to meet themselves. So,
dude, we might have our stickers. We might have our stickers.
That would be cool.
I got the shipping notice saying that it's scheduled to be here on Friday. I have my doubts.
That was one of the sample stickers.
Yeah. It'll be good. I hope everything works out and we get that and, can hand them out and, show off a little bit of some of our first merch.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Man, I'm ready to get this one going and get the guys out here. What do you think?
Let's do it.
All right, let's roll that intro.
In a pleasant world where legends collide, tiny heroes standing side by side, guardians of playtime in disguise, action figure alliance on the rise. Join the alliance, come take a stand, with our many armies ruling the land. Hail to the heroes, loaded with might, action figure alliance.
Okay, so tonight we've got the guys from Creative Beast Studio. All three of them, as I was mentioning, they all have a pretty interesting background that I'm eager to kind of get in and figure out just who the hell they are and what's the deal with these scientifically accurate dinosaurs,
Yeah.
which I think is pretty cool. But without further ado, let's head on over and get them on screen.
Yeah.
Bang!
What's up,
Welcome,
guys?
gentlemen.
What's up?
And
Cheers.
Chris, how are you guys doing?
Good.
Nodding heads. All right.
Middle of the week,
Yeah.
It's
It's a vocal crowd.
that's how we do it. Yeah.
That's what you're Chris for.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm waiting for them to get warmed up so I can get excited and go nuts.
Wesley says he's been a big fan of these guys since the first Ceratopsians wave. That's really cool. That's also a mouthful, but I don't think that's intended to be easy to say.
Yeah. And I will actually say I will probably refrain from trying to say a lot of the names of the dinosaurs because I'm gonna butcher them.
Chris is an expert at them.
That's half the fun.
It knows every name.
So do y'all have like all right, we gotta talk about how you're gonna say this and you learn to do all that. Do y'all have the speech? My wife's a speech therapist, so
No, I try not to say the dinosaur names as much
There you
as
go.
possible. And
Like
I
the dragon, or the purple one, or the one
Yeah.
with the horns.
the feathery one, yeah.
just say them when I have to, and I'll pronounce them in my head, and that's enough for me.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay.
Chris likes to say them out loud, but usually that doesn't go well. So, sometimes we have to learn how to say the different names. I guess that's part of the fun. So
Yeah.
Well, speaking of which, here's a good one. Tyrannosaurus, I know, but Macraensis?
I'm guessing this is the newest species that they named, which is I'm pretty sure still deliberated. But if it is real, then it could be the biggest species yet.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
I have no plans to do anything outside of Tyrannosaurus Rex. I think that's enough. I think that's enough for now. We have a ton of stuff going on. So, and T Rex is huge anyway. So,
Right.
So that brings me to it's kind of out of order the way we like to go, but it sounds like you try to keep on top dinosaur developments. Is that something that it's just a hobby, or you do it for the company, or what?
well, a lot of people that don't know me that well think that that's true. That I follow all the latest dinosaur research. Like people, like sometimes my friends will like send me the latest, discovery, which is cool. But my expertise is in toys. It's in action figures and how to make action figures and things like that. I have an extreme passion for natural history in general, not just dinosaurs, but anything related to wildlife and the whole concepts involved with evolution and like how everything that exists was kind of shaped by its environment. So I'm more interested in the broader scope of things. And when I start researching like nuances, then I get specific into like what we need to know, because there's so much information that if I start like filling my head with all of the latest discoveries and all the latest news, I distract myself from what we're doing, because I just can't simply take all of that in. So while it's interesting, and I might click on an article or a video every now and then, I'm not deliberately researching everything. It's like very focused on what projects we have going on. So like if we're working on certain species, then that's the stuff that I'm focusing on.
It probably helps people sending you stuff too, like, hey, we found this.
No, it doesn't help at all.
Even
No,
better.
we're well aware of what's available. We like to like focus in on the things that are helpful. So
So you guys put a ton of work into like the paint schemes and that sort of stuff. That I mean, I honestly, I've got a few that are just gorgeous. How, like, is that something that they really can you tell like the coloring of dinosaurs from fossils and things, or
It's really uncommon for them to have any sort of pigment evidence. I think it's only happened in a handful of cases.
uh-huh.
I think the species that we have done as a toy that has pigment identification is the Microraptor, which is uh, it's basically a small raptor that has wings on its legs in addition to its arm wings. Um, it it had like an iridescent black sheen, kind of like ravens, and so we utilize that in our figures. But I think that's the only time that actual color evidence influenced our color scheme. The rest of the time, I'm looking at modern day animals that live in similar environments and just like kind of going from there. Like I'm basically like matching uh, like similar types of animals like that filled that particular niche, and like using that as like a jump off point for a design.
Nice. So
Cool.
since we're kind of talking about coloring, do you do the paint masters or do you have somebody do those?
I paint most of them. I also work with a good friend of mine, Matt Holt, who I originally met at McFarlane Toys, and then we worked together at Hasbro for a while. Um, I I still have him help me out with some of the prototypes, but there's a lot of times where he's not available, or I just need something really fast, and so I've gotten to where I'm painting most of the prototypes at this point, which I really do enjoy. It's one of my creative outlets because running a business is like involving a lot of things that I never expected to do, like being an artist. So it's like it's nice to have still like creative projects going on, whether it's painting or sculpting or whatever.
Nice.
And you put me and Chris to work on a couple of paint masters too.
That's true. That's true. Yeah.
Cool. Well, I wanted to go into some of your guys' backgrounds and kind of what got you to where you are now, if that's cool. So starting with you, David. So you started off and studied sequential art and then went to concept design. Did you ever get into actually making any comic books?
Not really. It was one of those things where in the '90s I was like heavily influenced by comics with Image Comics coming up, and then there was also like the death of Superman and the Nightfall Batman. Like all that stuff was like hugely influential for me. And when I was in high school, I knew for sure I wanted to draw comics, so I go in that direction. And after about a couple years of that, I realized that my interest was more in the design part and not so much in the storytelling part. And it became kind of tedious to like stick to one story for like 10, 20 pages. So I do have some comics that I did back then that were never published. It's just drawings. But at some point I just changed tracks and I just went over to like focusing on design, which eventually led to action figure design work.
Cool.
Nice.
And I think I saw that you guys are going to release a comic for what specifically is the comic like focusing on?
The comic is focusing on Cyberzoic, so it's
Nice.
it's specific to the Cyberzoic story, and it's going to be our main way to get the story out there. It's one of those things that, as far as storytelling media, it makes the most sense to go that route as compared to anything else, because then it would just be too expensive to explore. But yeah, the comic has come along well. I
Nice.
wrote it and I've been art directing it, so it's been really cool.
Nice.
Okay, awesome.
You
Awesome.
crossed off one of my questions, Alan.
I try, man.
You know, I always talk about comics, but yeah, I'm very interested in seeing what the comic is and the story behind it. I think a story helps bring me into a toy line that I'm not so familiar with or may not collect. You know, I'm a G.I. Joe guy. I'm a modern military guy with Valorverse and G.I. Joe. So to get something like Sparrow Toys where they have a I read all the comics and I really got into it, and I got a bunch of Sparrow now. So comics do bring some of us in, and I really do enjoy the stories that come along with the figures.
I do too. I think it's a really cool thing. Ever since when I was a kid, I would have the He-Man figures that have little mini comics.
Yep.
And that's like the original thought behind this is, like it offers context for the action figures, like they represent something once they see them in a story. So I think that's important.
Cool. So then going and working at McFarlane had to be a bit of a dream come true, right?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was pretty crazy because I was a huge fan of Spawn and McFarlane and all that.
Yes.
Todd was one of my main inspirations when I wanted to get into comics, and it was one of those things where I was getting towards the end of my time in art school, and I was sending out a bunch of portfolios, and they just happened to have one of their designers leave recently, and there was some room for some new design work, and that's how I got my foot in the door, just by following up with them.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome. So if I could continue to focus on you just a little bit longer. All right. So for a while there, Todd stopped kind of doing much for articulation. And he still seems to have a bit of a doesn't care about articulation very much. What is your thoughts on articulation for, I mean, they're action figures, right? But I mean, he even termed the phrase like staction figures or something where they're static and don't really move.
Yeah, that was a thing that was kind of popular in the 2000s, was the staction figures. Like, it's not as expensive as a statue, but it has like a fixed pose, and I can understand the appeal of the fixed pose. Like, it's basically a moment that you're capturing and kind of telling something about the character. So there's definitely a place for that. I like to think about it in terms of, like, if you were to compare, say, a film to a video game. So if you say that a statue is comparable to a film, which is a fixed thing, it's always going to be the same no matter what you do with it, how many times you look at it. It is supposed to be one thing, as compared to a video game where you interact with it and you can change to different paths, different stories, different outcomes. That's kind of like how action figures would be, where you like actually interact with it and you influence how it ends up being displayed.
That's a pretty awesome answer. I mean, yeah, like I didn't think, drawing the analogy between film and statues and action figures to video games. I mean, that's good job. Good job. Have you been asked that before? What the hell? Trey, you got some questions for the guys?
I got questions, and I think we were kind of getting to know each one of them, and so I'm going to kick that over to Ross. So Ross, tell us how you got involved with this project, and what's your involvement with Creative Beast Studios?
Yeah. Well, I also went to SCAD, same as Dave. I just started there about 15 years after he graduated.
Just a little bit later. Don't make him feel too bad. We're the same age, I think.
and I've always loved dinosaurs. I actually went to school for illustration and wanted to work in the video game industry. And then sort of at some point, I sat there and realized I don't even play video games. What the heck was I trying to do? Like, I collect figures, I have figures, I love all that kind of stuff. That's what I should be doing. So,
right.
And that's when I discovered that obviously there was an industry and opportunity there. So it came time for one of the summers, and I was committed to finding some type of job or some work. And I found Dave because of NECA and realized he sculpted some of the stuff that I already owned, and
Nice.
asked if he knew any work around, and he started me off as an intern, sort of like an intern designing some stuff for Cyberzoic, and it's just kind of gone from there. And at the same time, I graduated school and was working with Hasbro, so I got kind of all my training for sculpting from Hasbro while I was designing with Dave, and now I'm getting to do all sorts of things for Creative Beast Studio.
Awesome.
That's
man.
cool,
That
man.
That's very cool. And for the one creating chaos in the chat, Chris, you have some fans here, man.
Man, I don't know who that Sean guy is, but he's more like
I got
I
a
think people are lamenting the loss of your beard, though.
rip Chris's glorious beard
It wasn't supposed to happen.
and except beardless Chris.
It's
We said everybody
It's the camera.
awesome guest tonight except beardless Chris. So
Oh, that's funny.
you got it caught in a chain, right?
Oh man, I was supposed to hide it, but I couldn't get to stay up here.
You should have just came out in a fake costume wizard beard.
I should have got the Santa beard and have a little Santa hat and a beard. I was just gonna leave it on, not say anything, see how long it took. Well, this is normal. This is normal.
Yeah, perfectly.
So Chris, give us a little background on yourself. How did you get involved with this project?
So super interesting. So I was getting into like ZBrush and everything. I was teaching myself, and I noticed Dave's first Kickstarter, the Raptors. Thought they were so cool and sent him a message. Didn't even hear back from him. He just blew me off. No. So like 2 years goes by, and I've been really working on sculpting. I switched over from doing like super sculpted clay to ZBrush, and I got to a point where I had done this stuff for P Blender, got like artist awards for it, and got featured on the ZBrush page for ZBrush when it was ZBrush before Maxon. And I was like feeling cocky, and I reached out to Dave, and I was like, hey, I have this amount of time. I'd love to learn from you, work from you, see what we can do. And he responded, and it was like one of those, like, oh crap. Every time I talked to Dave for like the first year, I was like a little kid. I was like, this is Dave Silva. This is Dave Silva. And then one of our conversations too, he goes, I'm just a normal guy, man. I'm just a normal guy. And it's funny because he's like one of my best friends. So it's fun to interact with him and Ross because they're awesome dudes. Most talented people I've ever worked with. And so he gave me an opportunity to work on a Pyrodactyl, the one Cyberzoic. So over like 6 or 8 months, we did that. And towards the end of it, he invited me out to PowerCon. Got to go there and hang out with them. Greatest experience ever. Got to meet a bunch of people in the industry, a lot of Dave's friends. And it's funny because Dave's like the Michael Jordan of the toy industry. So he knows everybody. Everybody knows who Dave Silva is. So it's really fun being in that little world. So I'm walking around with all these people. It's like, oh, I want you to meet this guy. I want you to meet this guy. And then he would tell me afterwards who these people were. I was like, what did that guy do? And then I get nervous. It was crazy. I never get nervous. I was like the little guy. I'm the little guy in this group. And so that kind of kickstarted it. And then from there, we just started doing other stuff, putting on other projects. And right now I'm focused on the YouTube stuff to really like build that out, like what we have going on. And then Ross and I have been working, well, mainly Ross, he's been killing it. Have the Zoic card game also. He didn't even talk about the illustration stuff. He's done a lot of really cool stuff for that. And then Dave didn't even mention it. He was talking about the business side. He's doing all this mastermind work that you guys don't even see. So we're doing little things. Dave has this entire empire that he's running. It's kind of like, think of like Star Wars and the dark side. No, I'm just kidding. Not the dark side. Maybe. But he's got this whole plethora of responsibilities and things. And it's funny because I'm getting excited. I'm going to start wiggling.
You're the hype man.
You're already wiggling.
But it's crazy because I'll be sending him messages just annoying him throughout the day. And I'll get ideas because I'll see these dinosaurs like, Dave, let's do this. He's like, Chris. Like I probably sent him 100 dinosaurs this year already. I know Ross has too, so I'm not the only one. But we're just like you guys. We get so excited about this. So I'm getting so far off topic from what you guys asked me. Anyways, I got into this because Dave allowed me to be a part of it, and it's been awesome. And then poor Ross has been training me because I don't have schooling for art or anything. I come from the fitness industry, and so it's been really fun learning from them. It's been a great experience, and it's one of those things where I wouldn't trade it for anything. It's been awesome.
Nice.
So,
Cool.
okay, you guys have bios on your website, which is really helpful for people to get your background and stuff. And but one thing above all the other little things that were awesome stuck out more than anything else. Chris, you want to tell me about getting attacked by a hyena?
Oh man! So this one time there was a hyena, and it was Giggles, and it bit me. So long story short, I was on a job interview and I got pulled into the cage with this thing and almost lost my right arm. So I have this you can't really see it.
What kind of job interview has a hyena and a?
I'm everywhere, and I couldn't figure out what I wanted to do when I was going to school. So at one point, I came back to Texas and wanted to be an exotic vet. And so I got a call, or I went to A&M, and one of the professors was like, "Oh, there's an exotic vet, or exotic animal farm out in Houston, North Houston." I was like, no way. So it was actually on a job interview when I got attacked. Yeah, it was insane. Mm-hmm.
All right. I don't know where we go from there.
Have you guys heard about dinosaurs?
Yeah.
Hey,
Chris has a bunch of stories like that. You should have been in the car when we were driving to Joe Fest and back, it was just like non with like the crazy stories. It was so
Oh.
entertaining.
Is
didn't
it
Chris is definitely the hype man. It's brings a high energy, man. That's
Yeah.
cool.
I mean, you did get wiggling, which
Oh, I
I was enjoying.
This chain's supposed to hold me down. I got to get a heavier chain because I just feel like I got the wiggles.
That's funny. That's all right, man. Being excited about what you do is
That's
right, right?
It is.
I mean,
Oh, of
that's
course.
that's awesome.
Oh, yeah, and I think that's for all of us. You know, Dave, he started all this before us, but it's exactly what I said, a dream. We always talk about it. I know Ross and I will be talking about stuff like, dude, this is crazy. We're even, especially for me, for not coming from the art industry, so to be a part of it, it's a blessing. So it's awesome.
Cool.
Very nice.
It is awesome, man. I think honestly, we're getting close to kind of being able to call this a golden age of action figures. And honestly, you guys are contributing some really amazing stuff that nobody else is getting anywhere near. So happy to have it for sure. And honestly, from between you guys and Joy Toy, I'm getting pulled into 1/18th scale stuff. And I am really looking forward to getting all the stuff from the Cyberzoic Kickstarter and having that on one side of the table and a bunch of Warhammer stuff on the other side.
Yeah.
I'm thinking that's going to be pretty awesome. So, and then maybe like a Skeletron flying by or something.
Yeah, I saw the one Skeletron ship.
Yeah, I got Skeletron up here.
Yeah.
We came home from Toylanta and I instantly pre-ordered the Cyberzoic stuff. It was, I think I probably did it on the ride home from Toylanta. So it's my pre-orders out there. I'm ready for it. I bought the bundle kit, except for I bought the gear and the rider to go on the Smilodon back here. That's fighting some Sparrow toys, some AWOCs. But Alan, you got a question for him?
Dude, we haven't even touched all the questions.
I know.
Got a ton left. David, so you really do have quite a resume, and honestly, we've had some great people from the industry on the show. I think we've been kind of blessed with that. But dude, you've worked on Predator, G.I. Joe, Star Wars, Aliens, I mean, all that. One thing that I wanted to ask you about that's kind of popped up recently that I've been surprised by is there's been a resurgence of Pacific Rim interest, it seems like. And I know you worked on some Pacific Rim stuff.
Yeah.
Have you been paying attention to that? What are your thoughts there, if you have?
Yeah, these guys have been collecting some of the newer stuff. I've only noticed that they're doing Jaegers, like really nice looking, super detailed with LEDs and everything. I think it's cool that there's like renewed interest in the license. I had a blast working on it. When I was at NECA, I was just trying to get my hands on as many of the designs as possible. And I was bummed out that we couldn't finish all the kaiju actually because the license ran out after a certain point. And I was really pushing for it, but there's only so much you can do. And I'm like kind of in the place now where I feel like I'm done collecting the Pacific Rim stuff, even though I still love the movie and the franchise and everything. I just feel like it was a moment in time. Now I'm kind of into other things. So,
well, yeah, I mean, you've kind of got that, captured from your specific time frame with it. So that I can completely understand that,
Yeah.
I don't know if it's like, kind of closing the door on this is my complete collection of this thing and then kind of moving on to stuff. But I just wanted to ask because honestly, I love big stompy robots, as I like to call them. And, Pacific Rim has a very different, I'll say Western style versus like the Eastern style of, kind of the classic Shogun Warrior robots and Gundam. Pacific Rim is kind of very much its own thing. And I've been happy, that it's kind of, seeing some, increased or renewed interest.
Yeah, same here. And I hope they keep going. I hope they do more of the designs because I think that a lot of the designs in the film are phenomenal, especially as far as the Jaegers go. I don't really feel like we had the budget at NECA to do what could have been done with those designs. Like there had to be kind of basic in terms of like detail and things like that because of the price point. Like we did work in one LED into the Gypsy Danger chest, but that was about it. And
Yeah.
we had the parts. It couldn't be like too crazy with the assembly, so we were a bit limited. And when it first started, it was supposed to just be like one wave. It was a big risk. Nobody knew what to expect. Actually, everything from the first two waves was developed completely in China at the factory. They didn't even have working on it in house until the third wave, and that's when they brought me into it. And then I was designing all the articulation layouts for the Jaegers, and then I was also like sculpting a lot of the kaiju at that point. Um, and that was like some of the best times I had there when I was working on Pacific Rim. And we even went as far, like once we finished all the Jaegers, I actually did extensive turnaround designs of Brawler Yukon that nobody ever saw, which was like the original Jaeger in the story, and there's only like concept art for it. So we were going to actually like sculpt that from scratch, but it didn't go that far.
Oh, that would have been cool to see.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. Trey?
Okay. I'm switching back to y'all's stuff. Tariffs is an ugly word we don't like to talk about much here, but I do have to ask: will the tariffs affect pricing with your product? Is there anything that's locked in? Talk a little bit about that. I mean, it's a hot topic right now.
Of course. We discussed it a few times on even our last live stream. We discussed it for a bit. And my stance on it is that if you pre-ordered, then you're locked in at that price. So like we're not going to come back and invoice you again for something else. The only thing that might change is that the prices will possibly increase the next month or maybe a few weeks after next month. I don't know. I'm still kind of figuring out the best way to move forward. Like obviously there's a pause on the higher tariffs for the time being, and we don't know what's going to happen in 90 days. So there's a lot of anxiety, I think, around like what's going to happen and how to proceed, plan forward, and all that. And the last thing I want to do is put the burden on the customer, because then you're kind of destroying your market at that point. And what's the point? Like you might as well just exit at that point if you're not taking care of your people. So. I plan on absorbing as much of this as I can, and I don't think it'll last, but whatever we need to do to make it work is what we'll do. And if people are buying at a certain price, then that's just that's where they're going to be locked in. So I don't plan to increase the prices any more than 10%. I don't know for sure if that's going to happen, but it might be necessary. But as far as if a lot of our fans just pre-order, and they don't have to worry about it. So whatever you're buying it at, whatever price you're buying it at, that's the price it'll stay. So.
Nice.
That's cool. I mean, it's who knows, the way the wind is going to blow and change that scenario tonight, tomorrow. But hopefully it calms down and figures itself out soon.
Well, one of the advantages we have is being so small and agile. We don't have the big burden of huge overhead expenses like a lot.
Especially Chris. He's very small and agile.
Is he agile? He's wiggly.
So I like how y'all do the updates on your website. If you haven't gone to their website, go check it out. Chris had an update video I was watching there, and so yeah, good to get that update on stuff, and like how y'all do that. Give everybody an update, and good to hear what's going on with the figures you've purchased. And that being said, I know I'm going to skip over Alan one time with a question, but because it's relatable, what's coming in the future as far as what's in the pipeline to hit soon?
The next thing are the Cyberzoic armors and riders for Wave A.
Nice.
Which we initially wanted to have out last year, but we've had to have a lot more development time than we expected. So we're in the final stages of fine tuning the armors right now. The humans are pretty much finished. We just finalized the packaging, and we're hoping to have everything done at the factory by the end of the month for which would be the Saber Beast armor, the Dragon Slayer armor, the Razor Hound, the Saber-Tooth Tiger exclusive for Kickstarter,
Yeah.
and our 3 rider characters, Dragolina, Argentius, and the Fire Guard. So those are the next things to come out. Yeah. And then after that, we'll be going into wave B of Cyberzoic, which would be the beasts. We have like another wave of beasts, another wave of armors, and that stuff I'm hoping to put out all at one time in August. And then after that, we have another wave coming about a month or so later, which is all Beast of the Mesozoic and Beast of the Mesozoic. I'm getting confused around and stuff, and Beast of the Cenozoic, which is basically our natural history line versus our sci-fi line. So
Nice.
that has like the Stegosaurus and the smaller Smilodon.
And the mammoths, right?
The mammoths, I'm still not 100% sure if the mammoths are going to ship with wave B or if it's going to ship with the later wave of Beast of the Mesozoic. I'm going to put it out sooner if I can.
Right.
But right now, I'm like officially saying coming with the Beast of the Cenozoic stuff. But if I can get it, because it's a little further along than that stuff is right now. It's tooled already. The other stuff hasn't been tooled yet. So if I can get it out sooner, like ideally in August, maybe. I feel like I'm jinxing it by even saying that, but I always try to get stuff out when I can. So all of that is coming. All that's in the works, and then we also have like Skull are just kind of waiting for their turn right now too. So
Right.
there's a ton of stuff going on.
Well, speaking of stuff on the way, I'm going to throw this in here and maybe do something like this.
Nice.
Yeah, I saw you guys were showing off this packaging. Maybe this would be better. Yeah, that looks a little
There we
better.
go.
This looks, you guys do, you always have cool angles and like your boxes aren't normally just box shapes. But talking about these guys, I dig how you've got kind of like the armor specs and everything going on around here. So you just showed these off. I guess it was about a month ago or so, but man, these look really cool. Who did the box art design?
The package art is done by Rafe Lomatan, and he's done some amazing stuff for us. And then I designed the overall look, and then I'm working with another person, Steve Mielik, who's doing the like graphic design, like kind of putting it together, like as like a cohesive thing. So like I kind of do like a rough overlay like designs, like hey, this is what I'm looking to do, and then I hand it off to Steve, and then he like makes it functional. So so that's kind of the process. But I've always been a big fan of the overall presentation for action figures.
Yeah.
Not just the action figure design, but I feel like I have a very strong connection to illustration, storytelling, and sculpting. So like all of it's very important to me. And if I'm doing my job right, you want to buy two because one's going to stay in the package.
Nice.
So that's like we put a lot of effort into the packaging and kind of like give it its own identity, almost tell a story without actually having a story. Because I think there's a lot you can convey in images and just like a few stats.
Well, yeah. And honestly, I mean, I'm really digging what you guys are doing. The packaging looks really cool. I love it when it's just, even just the weird little angles here and there. That it's a nice touch. But these figures, or should I say these armor packs, however you want to term it, I love the fact, not only is it armor for a dinosaur, but then it has, kind of that second use. I think that's really
vehicle.
sick.
that blew my mind at Toyland. Chris was like, "Oh, look at this," and he's showing it to me, and he was all hype about it, and it just really reeled me in. I was a big Dino Riders kid. I had Dino Riders as a kid, and I loved them, and so that just brought all that nostalgia, and I really like what y'all are doing with this.
Thanks.
It was such a cool like moment to get to there because I was early as an intern. I was doing some armor designs and stuff with Dave, and we were both on the phone. And he was talking about how, because of the expense of the animals, it might make more sense to package the armor separately.
Mhm.
Otherwise, these box sets could get ridiculously priced and alienate, customers and stuff. And he was thinking about how they might become more valuable on their own. And we're sitting on the phone, and he's like, "What if the armors transform?" And like it blew my mind. I was like, "That's amazing!" Because we're all crazy Transformers fans.
Yeah.
And like when Dave came up with that, like we just ran with it. And I think Dave did a drawing. He was like, "Do something like this." And
Yeah. So like one of my initial inspirations is obviously Dino Riders. I have a huge Dino Riders collection. I'm a big fan of it when I was a kid, and it's one of those things where times have changed so much. Like when you're a kid, you don't see things the same as when you're an adult. If you're an adult
Right.
collector, you kind of see it more as art. You see it more as a display piece than like just a thing that you're gonna entertain yourself with temporarily. So
I mean, I kind of do that, to be honest.
and that's totally fine. But ultimately, it seems like we're basically connecting with creative products that appeal to us on a personal level. And like you don't really think about it when you're a kid. It's like, oh, that's a cool thing. It's colorful. I want it. But now it's a little more. There's more layers to it now because we're all more complicated now. So, so to bring something like this to the market, it had to be more than just here's an armor kit that only goes with this animal, and if you don't have this animal, it's not useful at all.
Right.
So, for example, if you buy this Razor Hound and you don't want the Achillobator figure, you don't have to have the Achillobator figure. You can just have a robotic dog,
Yeah.
Nice.
and that's fine.
Yeah.
Maybe
And honestly, that's a cool looking robot dog. So there you go.
It's got gun blasters in its arms.
So tell me about the engineering to do something like that. Is that something that you guys, was that a difficult task for you to undertake, or?
yeah. Yeah, it's ongoing. It's one of those things where we had an idea and we're like, let's just figure it out. So Ross did the designs for the Razor Hound, and he did designs for all of the transforming armors, and but Razor Hound was one of the first ones, and like we're trying to make the designs as as possible, and then we like get some solid drawings and hand that off to sculptor. For this particular figure was Aaron Doyle, and we're we're trying to communicate like what we want, what we're looking for, and we try to get as close as we can to being functional 3D sculpting stage, and then we have prints. So every stage we get a little bit closer to refining it, but these things there's so many variables that we really couldn't start fine tuning it until they were tooled, like with like
Oh,
like that's how late in the stages that we had to get to actually figure out exactly what we needed to do.
dang.
And that's why we've been taking so long trying to get these right.
That seems like that would make it expensive too.
No, it's just I mean, there's a set price for each stage, and we can have revisions, and that's just part of the work. But like I could approve it too early just to like rush it out there and then have like loose parts or whatever. But I don't see the point in doing it that way. I'd rather just like wait until we're ready, and it's a learning process. It's a learning process for us. It's a learning process for the factory. Everybody that's involved, we're all trying to figure out the best way to move forward with these. So the more we do, the more we're going to nail it down. this same process, this is exactly what happened when we were doing the dinosaurs originally, because nobody was doing those types of dinosaurs with that much articulation. And like at the time when I was doing the Raptor series, the Hammond collection from Jurassic Park, Jurassic World, none of that existed. Like there was just like very, very straightforward cuts on dinosaur toys, if they had any articulation at all. So it was not a thing I could point the factory to and say, "Hey, do it like this." It had to be just invented as we were going. So having that experience with the original Raptor line, and the ceratopsians had to have different articulation, um, it kind of gave me like more confidence doing another thing that was unfamiliar, like these transforming armors. Like, okay, we're going to be complete idiots when we start, but we're going to do our best, and we're going to figure it out through, trial and error, and that's what we're doing. And now we're actually we're getting really good at it, I think, at this point. And it's it's exciting because it's like kind of pushing through your boundaries in a way, because we originally couldn't do this, and now we're figuring out how to do it. So yeah, it's a journey with each one.
Yeah, I mean that is really cool, man. Super excited to see those in my hands. In my hands, one thing.
Me too, yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, Trey, you got
Yeah, so at Toylanta we saw 1/12 scale figures. I'm a 1/12 scale collector, and those really blew my mind. I really like seeing that. Talk about your 1/12.
Some of my questions now. So
Well, you stole about 3 of mine. So this is why we didn't compare notes beginning before this.
We're amateurs, thorough, well-tested amateurs here.
So what are the 1/12 offerings you have, and what are those? What other things do you have planned for the 1/12 scale?
So far, we've only shown a few of the characters, and we wanted to get people familiar with the world and like the 1/18 scale line before we start introducing a character focused toy line. But we do want to get into with the 1/12 scale. The only issue with that scale is that we're limited as far as like what animals we can do to accompany them. Like this thing with 1/18th, obviously, is that you can have a lot more variety as far as like the animals and vehicle type things. So yeah, these are the only ones we have prototypes so far. There's definitely more that we would like to do as far as characters go, but I think we also have to have more animals to accompany them. But they wouldn't necessarily be mounts, like big enough to be mounts, not at first anyway, because that would be very big. So I mean, like for example, like if we were to give one of these characters like a Utah Raptor mount, like a big raptor, it's going to be, it would be a figure that's probably approaching $200 price range for for an animal. So it's a bit risky, and we could be putting that towards something in our 1/18th scale. And that would represent a much bigger creature. So it's one of those things, like there's a lot of planning that has to be done before we actually like pull the trigger on it. But we definitely want to do it. I think the smartest way forward is to like build a bigger audience for the brand before we start doing a focus, like a character focused toy line.
Right. Yeah, I love the way that Smilodon with the gear looks, and the 1/18 scale character beside of it. But I also would want that character in 1/12 scale, just so I could pose it with, other figures in my collection. Because I am a 1/12 scale collector, I do have some 1/18 stuff. But yeah, interested in how that would work out. So they all look awesome.
Yeah, I mean they really do. I had to zoom in here because showing off some of these details even better, but they do look great. Where do these guys sit on your timetable?
That's something that I would have to wait before I said anything about, because I'm not sure what next year looks like as far as like release dates.
Okay, just curious.
But I wouldn't expect them any sooner than a year from now, I would say.
Right.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay. Well, they look awesome.
But
Yeah.
I do want to point out that the Smilodon that we have available, the one in that picture, is technically 1/12 scale.
Okay.
It's in the story. It's a sized up animal so that it can be a mount, which is a thing. It's part of the fun of having a sci-fi brand. It's like you can say, okay, it's genetically modified. It's a little
Right.
bigger than the regular.
Dragons.
What's that?
So it can fight the dragons.
Yeah, it has to be able to fight dragons. Yeah.
Well,
Hey man,
talk-
fantasy lets you do whatever the hell you want.
talking about dragons, you have an awesome one out there. Are there any more in the works?
Yeah, we have the lizard dragon plan to come out toward the end of the year, and then I'm actually sculpting a third one right now, which is it's a size that's smaller than the other two, but it's still pretty decent size.
So is that what's over there in the corner of your screen a little bit? Let's see.
Zoom in, enhance.
Oh,
It's right here.
Other side.
Enhance.
Other
Probably
side.
it's too bright over there.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
think
it's in a bunch of pieces right now.
Okay. Okay. Well, yeah, there's this other one with these wings over that I'm kind of curious about.
Oh yeah, that's the one here.
Yeah.
That's the lizard dragon. That is up on the backer kit pre-order page.
Okay.
That was the last figure to be funded on the Kickstarter.
Oh,
Yeah.
awesome.
And that kind of brings me to another question of mine. I missed the Kickstarter, didn't really know about, or know that I wanted to be in to this line. So I missed the Kickstarter, it's available. And going to your website to order is the backer kit thing. I've been on the website and saw that. You still order from that. Tell us about how do we get your products? What's the best way to get what you have coming out?
So if you go to the backer kit pre-order store, that's going to have all of the remaining pre-order items for the Cyberzoic. I do have the next wave of pre-orders on my regular website, creativebeast.com. Eventually, I'll be bringing in the second wave over to that store, but if you go to creative-beast.com, there's a link at the very top of the page that will take you to the backer kit store, and you can see all of the Cyberzoic offerings over there.
Nice. Definitely gonna have to get some more.
Nice.
Yeah, I managed to get in on the backer kit and went a little nuts. It was an expensive thing.
I haven't dove down that rabbit hole yet, but I do have the pieces of Cyberzoic on them pre-order, and I can't wait to get them. So
I think Chris, you're the hype man, but I feel like we've left you a little bit alone over there in the corner.
Oh no, dude! I'm just taking it all in, enjoying the quiet sereneness.
Quiet and serene. All right. Well, let's change that. How did you get into the creative thing? I mean, you talked about you were in the fitness industry. You were looking into, I don't know, playing with hyenas and other wild animals. I can understand why you wouldn't want to, get attacked by wild animals. But what got you going down this pathway?
Man, it's really interesting. So I actually, it's funny enough is I wanted to make toys my entire life. Was never good at it, and anytime I wanted to pursue it, I always had people tell me, "Don't do it. There's no money in it. Don't go that route." Even when I was in college, there's one point where I was about to change my entire degree to do art, and even the dean of the art school up at University of Utah was like, "What are you doing? Are you stupid?" I was like, "I hope not." So I never really pursued it, but it was funny because once I had a gym and got through all that part of my life, I really wanted to do something I cared about because I'd never really pursued my personal interests. And like I said before, I saw Dave's Raptors, these are really neat things. This is what I want to do. And I was doing statues at the time. And so it was one of those things where I wanted to be creative. And it's one of those things I've always wanted to be creative, but I didn't know how to get into it, where to go. It was kind of a dream. And so like we were saying before, whenever I reached out to David, the opportunity, it was like that dream being met. And it's funny because when he invited me out to PowerCon, he goes, "By the way, you're one of the toy guys now." And I was just like, what the? It was like a dream. It was like one of those weird, kind of like Ross when he did the mind blowing thing. I was like, this is nuts. And I still, every day it's like that. It's So I'll be working on stuff with them. I'm just like, how did I even get here? So super interesting.
Nice.
That's cool, man. I'm envious. I am a IT dude, and it has its benefits. Don't get me wrong, but I am definitely trying to pursue creative things myself these days. So
Oh yeah.
it's cool to hear that you can find that success with changing gears like that.
Oh yeah, and the thing too is like I can't really take any credit for it because it was really Dave taking the opportunity and the risk. Because I think of how big of a risk it is when you're doing something because he has all this stuff going on, and to give me the opportunity. And then even Ross has spent hundreds of hours working with me. Poor guy's over there probably pulling his hair out. So it is one of those things where it is a learning experience, and I'm so grateful for it because it's like you were saying, to get into this, it's not unheard of, but I've never heard of it, so I guess it is unheard of. So I'm over the moon for it. So I will hype up these guys every day if I can.
Well, that's cool, man. And you do a good job. Even without the beard, you're doing okay.
You gotta find one.
So Ross, what other creative outlets do you have besides Creative Bee Studio?
I still do work for Hasbro. Time to
Really?
time. I work mainly on Legends and Classified.
Okay.
I've worked on Black Series and Vintage and Transformers and the Baby Doll. I think they gave it to me as punishment.
Which classifieds?
I mainly do the animals. So the upcoming
Nice.
Polar Bear. I did Pork Belly, and then some stuff I can't talk about, and then a bunch
Everybody loves your work, man. We need more animals.
Yeah, what can you not talk about?
Get out of here. Don't trip me up.
Please.
Don't trip me up. But yeah, because right out of school, I did a 1-year temp position with Hasbro, and that's sort of where I got all my sculpting training. Because before that, like I was just doing drawing and design, working with Dave, and then I was like, hey, I'm in toys, might as well learn sculpting. So I took a class, and then my professor connected me with Hasbro, and they hired me right at the gate. So I only had like a month or two of training in ZBrush, and they're like, okay. So I got very lucky there, and yeah. But I read. You mentioned comics. I read comics. I do some painting, all sorts of stuff. But,
What are you reading right now? Are you reading the Energon Universe?
no, I don't read any of the Transformers comics. This is going to
out.
sound pretty blasphemous considering the age group here, but I'm not a huge G1 guy. I like the Bayverse. But right now I'm reading through old Daredevil, the old Epic collections.
Oh,
just
all
reading
right.
from the
Nice.
beginning.
All right.
Yeah.
A little redemption there with the Daredevil. So
Yeah, for a while I was reading Swamp Thing. That's my
Okay.
all-time favorite character, and
nice.
Okay.
I've got just about every issue since inception, in '73 or whatever it was.
That's cool. I have a single Swamp Thing issue, and it's the first appearance of John Constantine.
Cool, yeah.
So I got one, but
Yes. Swamp Thing's amazing. I first started reading it at 15 or 16, and it was just like, holy cow! It's like this was made for me. It was just
Oh,
everything
cool,
I like
man.
about comics.
you don't
Very
hear that too much. So
That's right.
good work on pulling a semi-obscure one out, man. Cool. Well, Trey, you're up, buddy.
I'm up.
Sure.
I crossed
I don't know.
them all off, man.
Yeah.
Between me and you, I mean, so all right. Let's talk to the hype man for a second.
He's talking
All
to
right,
you,
hype man. All right, Chris, tell us what's your favorite thing about the line? What are you most excited about this coming, and what hype us up, man?
Oh man, so we actually have a flying dawn monster. I don't know if you guys have heard about this.
A flying what?
No, I made that up.
Okay.
No, honestly, the one I am super excited about is the bristle dragon, and it's the one Dave was talking about that's behind him on the desk. And I've been obsessed with this thing. The concept art is so cool, and it's just got this weird morph. Like it's just a different dragon you haven't seen. All the dragons are different. Dave's very creative, and like he was talking about earlier, he doesn't want to just create a fantasy creature. And we've had talks about this because I'm all about huge muscles, big spikes, sharp teeth, this murr. And that's my
Murr.
noise. Yeah. That is it. And so he goes through the evolution of it. And it's cool because he's created these charts showing how things can come from one thing to another. So it holds into biology and realism very, very for evolution. It's awesome. So seeing as dragons, they all serve a purpose. Their bodies, the most of them, the reason they have certain fins. Perfect example of a dragon is the Arctic dragon, Kurokame, with its fins, because it is an Arctic dragon and it can hunt whales. I actually have a statue from Dave, one of his statues he did of it before the figure, and it's incredible. It's on a narwhal and it looks insane. But all this resides in actual biology, evolution, and where it could come from. So seeing the bristle dragon, it's got everything I love. It has spikes. It has this tail that it pulls itself in, and the spikes get like expanded so it can like slap you with them. Dave, can they fire spikes off his tail?
What's that?
Can he fire those spikes off his tail?
No.
That would be cool.
That would be so cool. I'm gonna say it does.
I don't want him to be overpowered. You know?
The thing is wild. He was showing us the other day in our last live stream the face, and it's just this robust face. I've never seen anything like it, and it's cool because Dave's brain, he's always thinking of different things. So to see his ideas that come to life in these different creatures, because you know we have the dinosaurs, we have the beasts, the Mesozoic and the Cenozoic. They're awesome, but this is actually getting to see what Dave wants to create, because you know he's done all these other things, predators, Pacific Rim, all these cool creatures, but these are his things. And just my favorite part is when we get to go to his studio and see the stuff he's working on. It's insane to me because it's not only cool to be a part of it, but I've never seen anything like this. I'm so excited for everything, especially in Cyberzoic. And so the Bristle Dragon, I just went on this long rant, is the coolest thing I'm most excited for when it comes out.
Have images been released of that, or can we get a sneak peek?
There's images. It's so cool.
If you go to my website and use the search option and type in Bristol Dragon, you'll see it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
In process.
Alan's quicker with that than I am, so yeah, awesome.
And I can't spell. Okay.
I can't even read. But no, and then you also have the Lizard Dragon, and I can't wait for y'all to get that, because Dave has it behind him, but it's just the prototype. You can't really move it.
Yeah,
But-
I can't pick it up; it'll fall apart.
Okay.
And
I was going to ask you to get it, but if it's
Yeah.
brittle, then yeah, don't.
Yeah,
it's
it's a little delicate. Yeah.
Right.
And it's another one too where it's so cool. Ross and I, with the Zoic game, there's a few things we're talking about with that, but I love the design of it. You just don't see anything like this, and it's so agile for its size, and the way it looks, you can tell it's an aggressive, crazy creature. And the Smilodon actually has it with Dragolina on the mount, has this lizard dragon on the illustration, and it's really cool. But it's just, these things have never been seen, and I don't think anybody's going to come close to how cool they are. And it's fun because Dave, he probably can't say too much because he'll sound cocky, but he can be cocky as he wants. But these dragons are the coolest dragons I've ever seen. And what's even funnier is Dave was designing a bunch of the dragons for McFarlane back in the day. So the original dragon lines Dave was working on and doing all these concept art. I actually have a bunch of his concept art. It's really cool. But yeah, Bristle Dragon, look how cool that is. Look at the wings. There's nothing like that anywhere. And that's before he started working on the tail and all the other details. So yeah, it's cool, man. That's my favorite.
That's awesome.
Right now. Mm-hmm. And then even the teeth, like you can't really see too much there, but he's way further now. And dude, it's so cool. I can't wait until we go up there so I can look at it.
All right, that's a fire breather, right?
Oh
No. This now we're going into the whole difference between scientific dragons versus the fantasy dragons. No, these are animals, so they don't breathe
Okay.
fire.
Okay.
They might smell like they breathe fire or have breath that's kind of like that, but all right. So tell me about the wing articulation on this.
So I was inspired to do like a different type of wing. It's kind of based on like a pterosaur wing, but also I've modified it more lately to be a little more shaped like an insect wing. But if you can imagine an insect wing with scales on it, I guess, like just trying to look at different ways wings have evolved in different species and try to like kind of think about maybe a different way that could happen with an alien vertebrate, which is what this is. So so that's kind of the thinking behind the wings. It's just like want to try to do something that was beyond just adding another set of arms, which I and I've talked to the guys about this plenty of times, like working on the McFarlane Dragons, I got really annoyed with basically just using like repurposing human anatomy for dragons. Like you basically just stretch it out, make the limbs a little longer, add some extra arms to the back, stretch out the neck, stretch out the muzzle, boom, you have a dragon. It's been done so many times, and I feel like it's time for something else. And even when I was there, one of my first projects was to design the McFarlane Dragons like before they even had clans. This is when it was an idea, and as one of my projects was like just take the whole week to just do a bunch of crazy designs, like whatever. And I was like out there, like I was completely just going off in this weird animal directions, natural history direction, and they had to rein me in. It's like, no, we need more of the like traditional type dragon type stuff. And it's like, okay, I get it. All right, I'll start making them look like they're basketball players with wings, essentially. Like everything's kind of stretched out, and like they're still cool.
Is that a rear bearded dragon?
Where
Is that a bearded dragon right there?
Right here.
it's a casting of one. It's
Okay.
I bought it off of eBay a long time ago. It's a very good reference.
Nice.
Yeah, and they painted it up realistically too. So like stuff like that I have around, like to reference the scale textures. And
I had a bearded dragon for 10 years. I love them. They're awesome.
Yeah, they're super cool looking. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's for the thought process behind the dragons. I feel like it's time to kind of introduce a new way of doing them. And I felt like that back at McFarlane, it just weren't ready for it. And it's probably a good call on their part because they probably wouldn't have done very well back then. But now that we've had that for so long, I feel like it would be cool to like introduce some new types of animals like to the like the fantasy arena, essentially, which is dragons. But yeah, it's a lot of fun, and I'm at the point right now where all like what little sculpting time I have, I want to just sculpt these made up animals.
And these made up animals are so fun because Dave really pioneers most of it and directs and has the final say so, because he's most familiar and definitely the expert on it more so than Chris or I. But we have other projects, made up creatures and stuff that'll tie into like maybe the comic or a potential future figure. And Dave's always like, we come up with an idea and he's like, but what if it exists for this purpose? And what if we alter it like this and it has this function in its environment, and how it would eat? And like, he's like constantly challenging us as creatives to make really, really cool stuff. So we're like, making stuff that is completely original and exists for like specific reasons scientifically. So as much thought goes into like the study of dinosaurs and us matching that. Like we're almost like backwards recreating study of dragons.
Yeah,
from
that's
nothing,
awesome.
and it's super cool.
Yes, someone in the chat's talking about a multi-winged, two-winged dragon. Would love to see something like that. I like that you're branching out from the norm. You're not going with the status quo. So that's awesome that you're being creative and bringing new things to the dragon realm.
Thanks.
I really like the origin of where you're taking your ideas and how you're moving through your iterations, your references. You're putting, you're trying to attempt to put realism into things that aren't exactly real, but you're thinking of it from that perspective, and I really dig that. That's you seem very particular about what you want and where you're going with it, and that to me says cohesive, well thought out line, and so really appreciate that. One thing, Ross, you just dropped a link in chat. Can I show these pictures off?
That was the dragon that we were just looking at, I believe.
Okay.
No, that was comic book stuff.
Oops.
Were mistakes made?
Whoops. I grabbed the wrong link. I don't think we turn that off unless Dave says so. I thought it was simple on the drip images.
It wasn't me this time.
Woo, I better download all this now, right?
Secret stuff. Yeah.
Oops. Well, that's why I wanted to ask, because I was like, this doesn't look like it's related to what we were talking about. So
Yeah.
I want to know what it is.
We've probably seen it already.
It's gone. It's
all
gone.
right.
It's not there.
On another note,
Oh no, it's there.
On another note, I missed a comment a while back. Mark from Skeletrons in the chat, and I guess it looks like I'm allowed to say I also do design and sculpt work for them right now. So,
Awesome. We had Ben on the show, and love some Skeletron. You know, I got it up there. I can't wait for the 1/12 scale figures to come out, and really excited for that.
You know, Ross, you can continue to drop links in the chat there.
Yeah.
I would love to see some stuff, you know,
Well,
little
so
behind the scenes things there.
I have a story about Ross. So Ross is really on top of stuff, and we rely on him when we go on these trips to navigate for us, figure out where we're going, and get us there safely. Well, he decided he's going to come to Houston and tell me how I'm supposed to drive. So we go to one road in Houston on a road, and these people are like freaking out, waving at us, like, "What's going on, Ross?" And he looks at me and goes, "It's the wrong way." So I immediately turn, and I was like, "Goodness." It happens like once every couple weeks.
yeah.
A couple weeks.
Well, yeah, I appreciate the little preview that I got. That's
Yeah.
cool stuff. Thanks for that.
Little bonus for you, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so.
Sorry, Dave.
I had one more thing to add about the
Promise
dragons
we won't share it.
that we're doing. So, as far as Cyberzoic goes, it's in this universe as us. Like there's a lot of popular IP that has like alternate universe. Like it's sort of like distantly connected to us, but not really. But this is meant to be on the same exact timeline as where we are now, and then going like all the way back to Beast of Mesozoic, Beast of Cenozoic, Cyberzoic. All of the Zoics are on the same timeline. So it made sense to, like, if you're going to have these alien animals that look like dragons, to then fit in with the dinosaurs. Otherwise, it just like we wouldn't be as connected to them. So basically, designing these alien creatures along the same laws of biology that we're used to seeing on our planet helps us be more connected to them in that way. So,
No, that's super cool, and that's exactly what I was kind of trying to compliment you on earlier there. Dig it. There was something I say, and I have lost it. So good job. Oh yeah, I remember now. Card game.
Yeah.
Tell us about this Zoic trading card game.
I'll leave it to those guys.
Russ, you want to start?
Sure.
Yes,
yeah.
I want to talk about it right now.
So it's like, me and Chris have like talked about doing a trading card game for a long time, and we're just like, it's so cool. We have all this amazing artwork, a dinosaur trading card game. You fold in Cyberzoic, the armors and riders, it'd be like amazing. And we just sat on the idea of being like, oh, it's gonna be so cool for like a year and a half. And then Spino, he's recently joined us and helping Chris with YouTube stuff, and he was asking for some extra he can do to help out. And he mentioned for a while he had been working on his own dinosaur card game. So we're like, hey, let's bring it together. So we've been, for the last 6-8 months maybe, developing this awesome trading card game that combines both the natural history with all of our dinosaurs and prehistoric mammals, alongside the Cyberzoic with the dragons and the human characters and the riders. And we brought on the other people to develop the mechanics of the gameplay that utilizes the armors to build on top of the dinosaurs, and all of this like puzzle piece like strategies and like different playing methods that simulate pack hunting and like ambush hunting and egg hatching and laying, and all this stuff integrated in this like really not cheating. Last time Chris really, we were playtesting, and Chris lined it up like unbelievably so, like instant victory. And it just so happened that I had even better odds on my end that he was unaware of.
So,
So
so
it was
will this
just
be ready at Joe Fest? Because we're going to have a game session.
we'll probably have some test cards at Joe Fest and maybe
Okay.
a play mat to do some demonstrations, but probably
Okay.
not enough to do a full game, but definitely enough to do some demo. And it's so much fun. And like we're in the final stages of kind of finishing up all the artwork and finalizing gameplay and everything. And you know, it's awesome. You know,
That's cool, man.
That's very cool.
That is definitely going off of the normal path there, I think, for a toy company. So
Well,
good work. I'm super interested in checking it out. I used to play the Decipher Star Wars game way back in the day, and had a lot of fun with that. So I do have a little bit of history there. I'll be interested in checking it out. And it sounds like in chat you've got a few other people that are kind of looking forward to it too. So
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and it's awesome because we have this awesome artwork already, but we've gone and found. Well, Ross has been killing it too, finding new artists, and then all of the plethora of artists that Dave's already had working on these. So we have some pieces that I have one as my background on my phone. I can't show you guys, but it's so cool. So
just
it's
tell Ross not to show it to me.
and I won't get in trouble. No, and I kid you
Send it to Ross so he can send us a link.
it's okay. He'll give away the secrets. No, and the illustrations are nuts. So it's not only going to be a cool game, but the illustrations with it too are insane. It's one of those where you're not just going to want to play the game; you're going to want to collect it. And so we're really looking forward to see how everybody else likes it because we love it. We've been having so much fun. Actually playing the game has been a lot of fun, and that was the most surprising part because once we actually did a play test, we want to keep. I was so mad at Ross. I was like, I don't even want to play anymore. You cheated. But it was great, and we had a lot of fun, and it's getting even better. And so I can't wait for y'all to get these cards in hands because I really think it's going to be a whole nother with what we're doing to bring everybody else into this world, especially with Cyberzoic, Mesozoic, and Cenozoic, because we utilize all those animals for this card game. It's
Mhm.
awesome.
Yeah, and one really cool thing that is distinct about it is while it does have the dinosaurs and while it also does has the sci-fi with the dragons and stuff, you can play all Cyberzoic. You can play a blend of both, or you can just play a natural history dinosaur card game.
That's cool.
There's that, modulation of like how you choose to play and collect.
How does Sean know about the eggs?
What are you talking about?
Oh, family crafts. I'm going to sit back and hatch eggs.
Oh, because I mentioned egg hatching.
Oh! Get out of here, Sean. No one's talking to you. I was like,
Okay, so are these cards going to have like rarities? Is this going to be a collectible
Yes.
card game?
Okay.
Oh
Yep.
my god!
Yeah, it'll be fully collectible. Like you buy a booster pack, and it'll be randomized based on
Okay.
certain
Are
percentages.
you going to put cards in any of the figures?
Yes.
That all of our
Conversions?
Cyberzoic releases
I
come with
have
a
one.
pack-in card. So your Smilodon there came with a trading card that has the stats of the animal and also has a playable function inside the card game.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, it's
all
already
people-
started.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think a future 1/12 scale character is going to need a cloak or some soft goods that Mr. Strupp can help us with. That would be nice.
Dude, I'm gonna have him make me. Actually, I wanted to do all of my dessert figures with that big cloak that Guts needs, but yeah. But I was gonna say no. So Ross and I, back to the trading card thing. Sorry, guys. We're obsessed with cards back in the day, and I still have a great collection of Pokemon cards that are super rare. And so that was one of the things we were focusing on, and we tried to develop is how we're gonna do these rarities. So we do have a rarity scale, and there's a card. The card that Ross beat me with. I don't know if we're going to keep it mythic or not, which is like the rarest of the rare, because it destroyed me, and I was so sad. I'm still sad. I'm going to talk about this for
So he
years.
beat you with it, so the card is going away. In other
No,
words,
basically, yeah. And the funny part was, like, we had a rule for how many cards you can have in the game because it's one of those cards. I was like, you put that at the top of your deck, didn't you? He was like, no, I did. I was like, I watched you. You were on camera. But no,
So-
it's going to be insane.
So Alyssa in chat had brought up a starter deck or a kit or something like that, and I want to go a little bit further and address that question as well. how are you going to launch this? Are we talking another Kickstarter or?
We'll have news to come at the end of the month for our live stream.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
We're exploring some ideas right now, but we'll make an announcement in our next live stream about how we'll proceed with it. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm so
Okay.
happy you were here because I would have just gone off.
That's why I had to make sure to talk first because I had to
All right. Well, that's cool. I'm looking forward to that. So, on that note, what about? I know you're really focused on getting the different waves shipped from the Kickstarter you most recently finished for Cyberzoic. But are you guys already planning out like other Kickstarters or waves and things beyond that? I mean, it sounds like you are.
Well, I mean, as far as the action figures go, I want to kind of ease away from the Kickstarter
Okay.
format. While it's a really great tool for like funding new projects, I also feel like it's such a big push to do those, to have that many prototypes done a certain amount
Oh
of
yeah.
all that promotion, all the package art that has to be commissioned, and all the designing. It's like the last one was a ridiculous amount of work, and like if you go back and look at the campaign page, you see all the people that worked on it. Like I was managing all those people, and yeah, it's just like everything had to be organized a certain way, and all of the offerings that we ended up funding, that was maybe like half of what I wanted to do.
Oh wow.
And it was actually Ben from Skeletron that was telling me that I was crazy and that I needed to do a lot less than that. So while I still did a crazy amount, it was like within like my comfort zone of crazy, I guess. So I pushed it as
Your
much.
comfort zone of crazy versus Chris's comfort zone of crazy. I
No,
assume.
I know he's
out there with me.
yeah. I mean, he just has a different flavor of crazy. But yeah, I'm always trying to push past what's normal. Like
That's
I'm
awesome.
not. I'm not trying to take on too much risk, but also not staying safe at the same time. Like,
Right.
I just want to push boundaries. Crew and I are big Dragon Ball Z fans, so we're big fans of the idea of pushing boundaries. So, but
And 20-minute charge ups.
exactly, yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's like everything that we've been doing from the beginning is like pushing past, like just a little bit past what we think we can do,
Nice.
and then like there's like some anxiety about that sometimes where it's like, okay, I know I can get this done, but I don't know how long it's going to take, and then we just like through working and through focusing, we figure it out, and like then we can do so much more each time, and I guess all that to say that whole process has to take place in like a period of like 2 years in order to do a big Kickstarter, and it's a lot. And so if I can like step further and further away from that and just get into like a regular flow of pre-orders fulfillment, that's way better, because the Kickstarters are like a big disruption.
Right.
And so that I'm trying to approach it that way. And I know that there is a plan for like a Cyberzoic 2 Kickstarter at some point, and that could still happen. But if everything that we're selling continues to do well, then it may not be necessary. I may not
Right.
Yeah.
have to have like a big, huge crowd fund. Maybe I can just like put out small waves, and
Right.
and I think that's easier for a lot of people too, because then they don't have to like do like a big backing all
Right.
at once. So
Helps our wallets as consumers too. So
yeah. I mean,
Right.
it's easier on everybody that way. I do feel like the Cyberzoic Kickstarter was it was definitely necessary, because it's such a diversion from what we were doing. So we basically had to like build a new audience, and try to bring along as many people as possible from the old audience. And the whole idea is that we wanted an IP that would be long-term sustainable and could go in a bunch of different directions media-wise. Like, we don't want to be tied down to the action figure industry solely. We want to be able to tell a story that can like go into comics and games and maybe animation at some point. And like, just being completely locked into one type of product, I think is a bit too limiting. So that's what we're doing. That's what we're exploring now.
Awesome.
That's really cool. And I mean, honestly, Kickstarter is it's kind of there in the name. It's supposed to be an assist to get you going on something, but once you establish, I think it's, well, honestly, they're taking money out of your pockets if you've got that foundation built of a customer base and people that are already excited about your products that you're putting out anyway. So I like it. I like the sound of it.
Exactly. It's kind of like Valaverse. Y'all seem to have a following much like that line, and he keeps putting out stuff. If y'all put it out in waves slowly, I think it'll be successful.
Thanks. Yeah.
Awesome. So we did hit most of my questions, but I wanted to kind of get into a little bit lighter fare. Kind of stuff have you guys picked up recently for your personal collections?
Who's going first?
I don't have a whole lot to contribute to this. You guys can go first.
We call this, and we're gonna kind of play it a little bit loose here, but we call this
Hotness.
hotness.
We do that again.
Don't tip me.
Yeah, I'll kick us off. I'm a huge Godzilla fan.
Nice.
So is Chris, and I particularly love the Heisei era, which is like the 80s into early 90s. I think it may have been late 90s. But I needed one more to finish off the collection, or at least the ones that I wanted, and I've been tracking it for years to find the right price, and I got them.
Nice.
Godzilla Jr.
That's always a great feeling when you finally get that last piece to something and you complete it, and you're like, man, I worked so hard and so long. Like comics, like I remember when I completed my Wolverine comic collection, and I was so excited. So yeah, that's an awesome thing to do. Is when you complete a line, you feel accomplished. You got everything, and yeah, dude, that's awesome.
Yeah, because this guy came out in like 2012 and was like originally $50, and I'm not gonna my rule is I won't pay more than double, original price, and this guy is like $200 online. So I was just searching forever and ever and ever, and
patience pays off, man. It sounds like it did for you. That's awesome.
Well, that's cool, man. That's cool. I should have put you up on the bigger screen, but I didn't even think about it.
No worries.
My bad. Who's next? Chris, what you got, man?
And I got the SH Monster Art. Hey, Ross, how are you?
There you go.
The -1 Godzilla in this movie, the movie itself is incredible, but I'm very impressed with this figure. I was kind of losing faith in SH for a while, and I got this figure, and I got the brown painted one. And I was like, Ross, he showed me a link on Amazon for it. It's like $140. I was like, I really want that. So I was just looking around, got on eBay at like midnight or something, and saw this guy going for like $60 in an auction. So I put $75 or something. I got it for $72. So in package, everything. So it's really cool. But yeah, like it's an incredible figure. The details are insane. I love the articulation. I love the toes. I'm really weird about like these like dragon like creature feet. I think creature feet that you can move and pose the toes are awesome. I'm all about it. So this guy hits every mark for me. It's really neat, and he's way better than Ross's stupid he got. So yeah.
So how does that compare? Have you checked out the Haya Toys line?
I have all of this Godzilla stuff from Haya Toys that they've come out with so far over there. You can actually see right there, all of these across.
Oh yeah, okay.
So I love Haya. I think they are doing a phenomenal job. Their new stuff coming out is incredible as well, and I like it because it creates that. That makes it so that SH Monsters isn't going to hold that realm anymore, and I really like that they're pushing each other now. So they have similar figures coming out, and the one I'm really excited for is Godzilla 2000. So Haya's got that one coming out. Their Shimo is amazing as well. So if you guys like Godzilla, definitely check out the Haya stuff. Spino Dude, Ross brought up, he's incredible too. He's been helping with YouTube. He does a lot of stuff for us. incredible guy. He actually sent me one of the Godzillas he didn't want anymore. He was like, oh, you can actually see it. So it's like, let me move my finger so I can point out its breath. It's right there, and its breath is like, this is hard. No wonder why you guys were struggling. And sent me that, and it's just like a little gift for everything. So I love the highest stuff. If you
That's
have
cool.
anything,
Right on. Right on.
Mhm.
David, I don't think you said you didn't really have much to contribute. You got something you want to show?
I bought one thing recently. It's not an action figure though.
That's all right.
It's a car.
Oh,
Okay.
nice.
A real car?
It's
Love
no,
cars.
it's a replica, but it has like a story behind it. So, when I was a kid, I I grew up having a Trans Am Firebird,
Nice.
1982. That was my experience as a kid. My dad loved Knight Rider, and we wanted an 82 Trans Am just like it. But when we went to go pick it out, and I was like 3 years old, when we went to go pick it out, they had a black one and they had a red one. And he said, "Which one do you want?" And I thought for sure I wanted the black one because it was like Knight Rider, but it had gold at the bottom. And I said, "I don't like that gold. Let's get the red one." So we got the red one, and we had it for a long time, like to the point like it could barely work by the time we got rid of it. So I've kind of gone down this rabbit hole lately of like searching for Firebird die-cast cars.
Nice.
It's like completely different from what I normally do. But anyway, I found a replica recently that was like as close as possible to the one that I had when I was growing up. So this is it right here.
Oh, that's awesome.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in '97, I got a 1990 white Pontiac Firebird with ground effects. I loved it. It had the T-tops and everything.
Oh, really?
That's right up my alley, man. That's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, this is like super detailed too. I like trying to off it up. Like you can't see it on the camera, but it actually says Pontiac on the back there. So
That's great.
Nice.
I'm gonna have to look for something like that now. Now you got me interested.
Oh yeah, it's super cool. It's on eBay. There's three versions of this. There's a white one, a black one, and then this red one. And this is like as close as I've ever seen to what we had. So it's super cool. It's like right in front of me in my work area now.
That's super awesome, man.
Nice. Nice.
So that's what I got. I literally just got that in yesterday. So.
Cool. Trey, what you got? You got anything?
Okay, yeah, I got something. And he's back here battling the Smilodon. So it is going to be, this is Tanger, the tangerine colored PowerCon exclusive from Sparrow AWOC Toys. He's got his whip, he's got his hammer. I got this in the other day. He is the second brute. General Thane is the first brute, the mainline one. I saw this on 5K and I had to get it. And then he's back here fighting the Smilodon. And I also picked up a couple other just Sparrow figures, a couple of those. And I got in these guys. I got in the Valiverse Steel Brigade. I didn't get a gold helmet, but I did get three of these guys, and now 4 in the collection. One's still in the box. So the problem with these was that the bubble was coming off the card on several of them, and the one that didn't have the bubble coming off the card, I kept in the box, and I was like, okay, I'm going to keep that one nice and fresh, and I'll open it eventually, maybe. But I thought, I was like, all right, well, I'm gonna kind of hold off on that one. But
What do you mean by a bubble on the card?
So on the card, so they come on a card, much like a G.I. Joe figure.
Oh yeah.
And so there's a bubble with the figure in it, but the bubble was coming off the card, and it was probably from the heat or from humidity when it was being shipped, and it just pulled right off. It was barely attached. It's cool. I keep the cards, cut out the points here, but I keep a couple. I keep at least one intact.
You mentioned you didn't get a gold one. Was there like a chase variant with a gold?
There is a 1 in 100 chase variant with these, and I just dropped the head. There is a 1 in 100 chase variant of these, and it is a gold helmet instead of the silver helmet.
Yeah, because that's actually vac metal, which is
Yeah.
really cool.
Yeah.
And so I did kit bash another figure using parts from this. Maybe another Steel Brigade with a helmet from the head pack. So I love customizing figures and kit bashing and making my own characters and stuff. So I did that. And for right now, that's it. Until IshCon.
Okay.
And IshCon next week, if people tune in, Alan and I will have our hauls and be talking about IshCon and everything that goes on there. So,
All right.
what about you, Alan? What'd you get?
Okay, so I actually haven't gotten any new figures for a bit, but I've been working on something that I'll show off here. I am building a display case.
What? Okay.
Yeah. So it's about halfway there.
One of your mini projects.
What's that?
One of your mini projects.
Yes, one of my many projects. So you can see I've got some nice crappily cut plexiglass here. I've got a hole in my thumb and a couple of scratches on my desk, but I was successful in getting everything to kind of fit. So
Okay.
it's coming together.
I know what that's for.
Well, it's a display case.
Yeah. Hopefully it's okay. We'll talk about it.
No, it's just a normal display case. It's going.
Okay.
You guys can't see, but I've got. I don't know how tall these ceilings are, but they're tall. But right up here, I've got a little bit of some blank spots that I need to. Put some stuff there. So, everybody's running out of room, right?
That's right.
So, also, I had another project that I got done.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I got
that in.
The white letters put on the
dude.
wheels of my van.
All right, send me the link for that because I gotta have those. I gotta
Dude,
have
it
the
looks
letters.
great. It totally fixed. Like, it looked good before.
I gotta have the letters.
Yeah, it looks great now. So I was pretty happy about it. Those are water slides, and that was a pain in the ass. But once I figured it out, it wasn't too bad. So,
I kit bashed my A team and it's great. I need to buy those 3D printed heads and paint them.
Oh yeah, I definitely do too. I have to get a BA Baracus. I mean, yeah, at this point, it's a must. So that was really all I had. I mean, it wasn't too much new, but it was some stuff that I've been working on that I thought I'd show off.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned getting wounded, making the display case. These stands back here, they're flush against the wall, and I had to remove. They fit snug, like wall to wall, and I had to remove part of the baseboard, trim it, and fasten it back. And when I did, I put the baseboard face like up on the ground and wasn't paying attention with a nail sticking straight out of it.
Oh God!
And I took a step because I had figures all over the ground, like I was trying to dance across the floor or whatever. And I took a step and right on the nail through my foot. So it happens.
I wonder if that is better or worse than being attacked by a hyena.
Well, that's why I laugh all the time now. It's like a superpower.
Good stuff. Well, guys, we have actually already gone over, but it has been an absolute blast.
It's awesome.
I think we should probably call this one closed, but you guys have been a pleasure. Thank you for indulging us in our goofy, me showing off weird graphics that are breaking people's eardrums, but otherwise having just a really good time. It was a lot of fun. So
thank you
very much.
We appreciate y'all and all those folks in the chat that are new. Hit the subscribe button. We want to see you next week and in future weeks, and come hang out with us, join the Alliance, and have a good time. We just like to talk toys and have
and the Alliance members that are here on regular, go check out the Creative Beast Studio YouTube channel. They how often are you guys doing live streams?
So we're doing it the last Thursday of every month, and then we're switching up posting videos. So on the weekends, you guys will start having more of our shorts, and we're going to start posting the long form video at the end of the week, because we found that you guys like to be on the weekends on the tube.
Yeah. For sure. Well, hey, I want to say thank you again. We really appreciate you guys coming out. It was a blast. Chat was awesome too, so thank you guys as well. And with that, we'll catch you later.
Later, guys. Appreciate it.
See ya.
Yeah, we were on a mission, got my crew at my side. Scouring the shells, we're down for the ride. Plastic warriors all lined up tight. From the comic shop counters to the late night site. It's the thrill of the hunt, gotta make it mine. I'm out here searching, yeah, taking my time. I'll flip every aisle, don't care what it takes. For that rare chase piece, I'm raising the stakes. Action figure alliance, yeah, we're bringing the noise. Rolling deep, rolling heavy with my action toys. Collectors unite, we're breaking the chains. Plastic in hand, we're playing no games. From legends to villains, yeah, I got